let's talk about adding and subtracting unlike fractions. And just like when adding and subtracting like fractions, we still need to remember that when when adding or subtracting fractions, the denominators must be the same. I'm going to repeat that. The denominators must be the same when you're adding or subtracting fractions. Okay? So, today we're dealing with unlike fractions. Unlike fractions already lets us know that these fractions won't have the same denominator. So we have to do something to make the denominators the same. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to list out our multiples of each denominator. And we're going to be looking for our LCM, or least common multiple. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We want to find our LCM, our least common multiple. So we're going to do 2's, and we know for our 2's times tables, we do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, and we could keep going. Okay, oh oops, not 16, it's 14, then 16, sorry. Now let's take a look at the 8's. For 8's, the multiples are 8, 16, what's after 16? 24, what's after 24? 32, and we'll stop at 40. Well, the lowest number that both of these have in common is 8. Okay, so we know that for the 2, it's the fourth multiple, or 2 times 4, and for 8, it's the first multiple, or 8 times 1. So we're going to rewrite our problem here. We got 1/2 plus 3/8, and we want both of them to be 8. Well, I know for the 8, all I have to do to make this, to keep it as 8, is multiply it times 1. So that means I have to multiply the numerator by 1 as well. And for the 1/2, if I want to make that 2 at 8, I have to multiply that times 4. So that means I have to multiply that numerator times 4 as well. So our new fractions are going to be, instead of 1/2, we're going to have 4/8. And the 3/8 is still pretty much going to be the same, because the denominator was already 8. Now that we have like denominators, we can go ahead and add. That's going to be 4 plus 3 as the numerator, 8 as the denominator. 4 plus 3 is 7, and that makes our final answer 7/8. 2. Number 2 says 3/4 minus 6. Well, we already know the rule that we cannot subtract these fractions because they don't have the same denominator. So once again, we need to look for our LCM, our least common multiple. So let's go ahead and start with 4. 4, we're going to do 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. We'll stop there. Now let's do our 6's. 6's, we do 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. And we can stop at 36. Okay? Now, we're looking for the least common multiple. What is the smallest number that they both have in common? Well, the smallest number that both of these have in common is 12. So 12 is the third multiple of 4, and 12 is the second multiple of 6. So let's go ahead and rewrite our problem. 3/4 minus 1/6. Now I want to convert both of these denominators to 12. Well, in order to make the 6 a 12, I have to multiply by 2. And since I multiply the denominator by 2, I multiply the numerator by 2. And for the 4, if I want to make the 4 a 12, I have to multiply that by 3. And whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. Now I want to rewrite my new fractions. 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 4 is 12. Minus 1 times 2 is 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Now I can go ahead and subtract because they have the same denominator. That's going to be easy. 9 minus 2 is my numerator. 12 is my denominator. 9 minus 2 is 7. 12 remains the same. So my final answer here is 7/12. 3. Number 3 says 2/5 plus 2/11. Like we said before, the denominators have to be the same. Okay, not the numerators, because sometimes people can get that confused. The denominators have to be the same. Right now, our denominators are not the same, so we're going to look for our least common multiple. And our least common multiple, let's find out. So 5, let's list out our 5's times tables. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65. And we'll stop there. Now, let's try the 11s. So our 11s. The 11s are easy, right? If you just count by 11, it's really just 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99, and what? What's the other one? Anybody? 100 and what? 110. Okay? All right. So now that we've listed out most of our multiples for each number, for each denominator, the 5 and the 11, what's the least common multiple? Well, if we're paying attention, 55 is our least common multiple. So now that we know that, we're going to come back over here and rewrite our fractions. 2/5 plus 2/11. To make the 11 of 55, we have to multiply it times 5. And whatever I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. So I have to multiply the 2 times 5. And if I want to turn my 5 into 55, I have to multiply it times 11. Whatever I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. Now I want to rewrite my new fractions. 11 times 2 is 22. 11 times 5 is 55. Plus, we have 2 times 5, which is 10, and 11 times 5, which is 55. Excuse me. Now that we have our common denominators, we can go ahead and add. That's going to be 22 plus 10 as the numerator. The denominator is going to remain 55. And when I add 22 and 10, that becomes 32. And the denominator stays as 55. So 32 55s or 55ths is our final answer for this one. All right. See you all the next time.